Hello, my name is Tina Falk and I am the founder of Via Feng Shui. I am here today having a conversation with Lynsie Brown. She is a member of the Via ProTeam. What that means is she has gone through the certification program that I offer, and I just couldn't be more thrilled to have a conversation with her to see how she uses Feng Shui, because we all do it a little bit differently, don't we, Lynsie?
Yes, we do. Definitely learning that.
Oh, so happy Friday. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, happy Friday. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. One thing I like to start off with, because this is an opportunity for me and you to kind of reconnect after the training. Of course, connect with continuing education classes and stuff, but it's like really get to know you, on a professional level
Right.
and hear from you so that other people can hear this journey that you've been on. So tell us a little bit about how you got here. I
Okay.
know, like if we could go read your bio on your website, but I want to hear your
Well,
story.
it's not really on my bio. So this is an interesting story. I got drugged literally to a expo, as like a consciousness expo or something. I did not want to go there. I was going through a big transition in my life, and I was just kind of going down every aisle, wondering when we could leave. And I walked past you, and I'm not kidding, Tina. It was like, you got to talk to that woman. There's something with her that you need in your life. And so I stopped and like made small chit chat. And this expo was huge. And we
Mhm.
wandered through, and then I just ditched everybody I was with. I went back to your booth, and I could not stop thinking about you and what you were doing. I had no idea what feng shui was. I didn't know what four pillar charts were. I didn't know. I just knew that I was supposed to connect with you. And so, you did a reading for me, I think in 2014. And yeah, a long time ago now. And it's just, I'm kind of a slow starter. It takes me a while to start to recognize um, things that that were really obviously right in front of my face the whole time. But I didn't really, I knew what you were telling me with the chart. And I always kind of would go back and refer to it over and over again, and, asked you many questions over the years. And I had wanted to do the training for a long, long time, but I was in school, going to college, and was a double major. And I just barely had time to keep my head above the water. So once I was done, that was top of my priority list. And seriously, it has been the best thing I think I have ever done in my life. Seriously.
Wow.
Like, this last year has just been so exciting to be able to help so many people and really understand it. Even just for me and my family, it's been life changing. That's how
Yeah.
I got here. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful.
And you came, how I love this story. And I didn't realize that you didn't want to be at that expo. I figured you drug your husband to the expo.
No, he drugged me to it. And we had a couple of our kids there, and they were loving it. And he was really drawn to one kind of a group or kind of a genre or feel, and I was not. I just didn't want anything to do with it. And it was just you and cute little Evan were there, and I don't remember what you were offering.
I don't
Some
either.
little, I think you gave me a sigil or something, but yeah, I signed up immediately to get a four pillar reading, a chart reading. And I remember when you read my chart, probably get emotional. I remember when you read my chart to me.
Mhm.
Um, it was like you were the first person who really understood who I was. It was
Wow.
like, finally, somebody gets me, because I'm sort of a complicated person, definitely intense. And I never felt like I really understood myself. And I certainly never felt like other people understood me. So it was just amazing.
Mm.
So I'm glad I decided to just swallow my pride and go to that expo.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh. I love those kinds of stories where the alignment happens. And and as you know, as a practitioner now, we don't often get feedback. from clients,
Yeah.
right? We read a chart or we do a consultation and we may never hear from them again, or we have to kind of hunt them down to get a reply to see how they're
Right.
doing. And so
Right.
it's thank you for sharing your experience with me, because that was something I wasn't aware of either.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need that confirmation that we're doing the right thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm having fun doing it, but what about the people on the other end?
Yeah.
Are they benefiting as well?
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. You
that's
definitely have a
awesome.
gift that I'm so grateful you are sharing.
Yeah, and I know you, Miss Ambition and Miss Compassion and wanting to pay it forward. That's what you're doing. You're just out there wanting to just be available to whoever's possible.
Yeah.
Now, you could stop anybody in any feng shui practitioner and ask them what is feng shui, and everybody's going to have a different response. I know my response changes depending on who's asking me, the setting and when they're asking me. What is, if you had like a quick go-to response, what is feng shui to you?
Feng Shui is the energy and the flow of life and balance. So I think that's what, in general, Feng Shui is. It's the flow of qi, it's the flow of the energy. And
Yeah,
it's in your physical home and space, and it's also in your emotional body and just in your life in general.
yeah, because we want to be in flow and not be resisting, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, that couldn't be more simple. So
Mhm.
how do you, because I know yeah, we met at the expo, but you have some other skills too that you brought in. You are very intuitive already. So
Mhm.
what are those skills that you have brought in or that you came with, and how are you merging this world that you're creating with feng shui? How do you work with feng shui?
Mhm. So it's been really interesting because people have always come to me for help. And I've been like, well, here's my opinion. Here's what I would do. And I've been able to tap in, intuitively to ways to help them. And then I realized at some point, you need to channel this somehow. You need to get some experience and some knowledge. So I did some Reiki training, which was amazing. Actually, I need to backtrack. I did a lot of self work. I did a lot of work on myself to, just sift through all the crap that I had been carrying around for a long time. And had a couple really amazing teachers that helped me work through that. And one of them also trained me in Reiki. I've used essential oils for years and years, like probably 25 years. And I just use them for myself. I've never sold them. It's never been a business thing for me, but it's always just been something that I've used. And so when people, family or friends of family and friends have been in crisis mode, they'll send them to me to help them. And I didn't have any, real professional training, but I had gathered it along the way. And with aromatherapy, especially, it's been amazing to me to see how people are triggered by
Oh.
these aromas,
Mhm.
and then you couple it with just telling them what the properties are and what they're supposed to be good for. Whether it's factual or proven scientifically or whatever, it triggers in people and allows them to open up to release pain and to release the anger. And so to be able to use that combined with Reiki, now I'm trained in energy clearing, which is so awesome. What just is such another great skill to be able to have. And then to be able to bring in feng shui and be able to say, when somebody comes to me, now I'm saying, okay, I need to see your chart first, because that helps me understand who you are. So let's pull your chart and look at it. It can just be really basic, and so I can get an idea for what your strengths are emotionally and what your weaknesses might be, or where you need support, really.
Mhm.
It's just been a huge game changer to be able to have this. And so just to put it all together, I think is just a really great. I have a toolkit now that I can draw from,
Mhm.
and this is the kind of the icing on the cake. So yeah.
Yeah, feng shui does a really good job of like bringing things together. And it's
Mhm.
like, here's the whole package. I
Yeah.
can tap in and pull these different parts, whatever you need.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
really cool. Um, every feng shui practitioner usually has a pocket full of success stories. Like you hear back from a client that says, oh my gosh, thank you. I know you have one for me, like, just some changes that we made in your youngest son's bedroom, you know.
Oh, huge,
So
huge.
share with us a fun story that, or an inspiring story that can kind of give people an idea of how effective Feng Shui can be.
Okay. I have a client that I was working with soon after I got trained, and I've known her my whole life. And she just has always struggled with self-esteem, like not feeling like she's worth enough. She gives to everybody else. She gives 100% of who she is to everybody else and just never gave to herself. And sitting down and doing her 4-pillar chart with her and explaining, I think she had a similar reaction as I did when you did my chart, that, wow, this is who I am. I actually am a person who deserves to be seen and to be heard, and who has needs and who has strengths and who has gifts to share, but also needs of my own. So she went on. It was incredible, the change that she made. She lost 80 pounds. She got promoted in her job. She's thriving in life while still being an important an important support to her family and the people who love her. The change has just been incredible. And I think that's really extreme, but just finding those people and showing, look, this is your unique chart. This is a map of who you are. Nobody else has this chart. And let me explain it to you and what we can do to help support you. It's just such a gift. So that's one that really stands out in my mind. But I have to mention in this that one thing that I've really been drawn to is working with families. And it's almost so hard for me to only do one person's chart, because I know that if I'm telling them, unless they live alone, it's so important to know, if somebody's really low in wood, they might need green sheets on their bed, but their husband might have 50% wood. And so that wouldn't be beneficial for them. And so to be able to look at everybody's chart in the family can help. But I had a family that I worked with that was just really struggling and had been struggling forever, just major problems, not just, little problems, major problems. And when I started working with them, it was just so revealing to them to see, look, here's the people. And it was actually things that they already knew. This kid is kind of the rock of the family, and this kid has these special needs and things like that. But to look at the whole picture and say, you guys are all really, really high in metal or whatever. We need to tone that metal down. Look at your house. It's all gray. Everything in your house is gray. You got to tone down that metal and introduce some of these other things. And also to identify, the people in the family who are really in suffering and in crisis, and figure out how can we support them the most. They're the ones who are really having that need. We need to focus on them, and then have everybody else take care of themselves and make the setting. But it's been interesting to me how many families have similar, do you see that? How many families have similar elements, similar animals? Yeah. They all have the same thing. And if they're balanced, it's great. And if they're out of balance, like super high earth, and you'll have people, I've done a couple families that are super high earth and it's just brown everywhere, and they're stubborn and they don't get along. And, just making those suggestions can really make a huge difference. So this first family I was telling you about, just to see the change and the transformation in them, it's like somebody opened the windows, somebody opened the windows and you could see there's a future and there's life outside. And it's just been so gratifying to be able to participate in that and to see the change.
It's just beautiful work that you're doing. It really is. And you see the power in it, and you have the reverence for that knowledge and for that gift that you're sharing with people, which in the way that you present it and the person that you are is already elevating them and already elevating the space that they're in. It's just really beautiful. I couldn't be more thrilled for the people that get to connect with you and work with you one-on-one.
I really feel honored to be able to work with everybody I get to work with.
It is an honor, isn't it? And I know that you're similar to me that, yeah, this is fun and it's really a cool thing to know and do and implement and share with people. But there's such a deep sense of responsibility too, because, some practitioners, they don't, it is more of like design and, helping people out. But people like you that are more in the healer mode, you're going to get people that reach out to you that are in a crisis situation or they're really struggling.
Yeah.
And you can't just come in and kind of, sprinkle the feng shui dust and with a few cures. It's about digging deep, and you're a safe space for people to dig deep, and that's important.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so let's lighten the mood up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you have like a go-to if somebody says, "Hey, what can I do? I've got 15 minutes," or what's the best feng shui advice you have? Like something somebody can do really quick or get after.
Yeah. Declutter. Just declutter. It's amazing. You know how you feel when you clean out that junk drawer. And then you open that one drawer, even if that's all you've done for the year, how good it feels to open that drawer. Just imagine if you took 15 minutes, and I think you were referring to 15 minutes to listen to what you're saying. That's all you need to hear. It really changes everything. So if you take 15 minutes a day, choose something to just get rid of the junk, just declutter. That will allow the space to naturally open up. I mean, there's that natural flow of chi. That's what feng shui is, right? It's what naturally happens and occurs. If we can just allow it to flow, it'll take care of itself.
Yeah.
Largely. And so that's my biggest tip. Just get rid of the junk.
Yeah, because then it frees up space, right? It frees up space to just rest or to, do something else. And it's just energy that we're talking about. But, as you're talking, it reminds me it feels like that's where we're at right now in the world, is we're in the midst of decluttering. And it always feels like to me whenever it's like you have such good intentions. Okay, I'm going to go into that closet or the pantry or under the sink and I'm going to go for it. It gets really bad and messy before it all comes together and feels organized and clean again, because everything's sprawled out in the open and you're just kind of not knowing what to do with stuff.
Right.
And I kind of feel like that's where we're at, but start small. You don't need to go for the whole basement. Just start in a closet or a cupboard, because you know what it feels like. You're just like, oh my gosh, that went really well. And
then 15 minutes later, my closet's cleaned out.
Yeah, and then you're on to maybe picking another one.
Exactly.
Yeah, just get in that flow of things. And that's what I love so much about, like what you said about flow, at the beginning of this, is that it applies to everything.
Yeah.
Just not the flow of the space. It's, are you in the flow of life?
Yep.
It's so involved. So we mentioned briefly you have a website, and so people can find you. Are you on social media ways for people to follow you and see what you're up to?
No, but I need to start that. That's my next. My first was my website, and my website's fikafengshui.com.
Okay,
and
Fika, sure to put that.
Okay. So Fika, I just want to explain a little bit about how I chose that. Actually, my daughter is the one who suggested this word to me because I really wanted to be thoughtful. Fika, Fika.
Okay.
And she was trying to help me come up with a name for my business. And she sent that to me. And as soon as she sent it, I'm like, that's it. That's it. And I still considered it. And I kept going back to that. So Fika is a Swedish word that means just to slow down in life and enjoy the finer things. And to me, that's what feng shui is. If we can get rid of the clutter, if we can identify things, then we can just slow down and really appreciate what's there. We can get rid of the things that don't matter to us, both literally and figuratively. And we can just enjoy life. Yeah. And that's my wish for everybody. So fikafengshui.com, or you can email me at fika.fengshui@protonmail.com.
Okay. Yeah. I like that, because I think we make life so complicated. Yep. And we bring in more stuff that complicates it even more. And it's just like, not that we need to be minimalistic to an extreme, because that maybe doesn't serve somebody's chart. Right. But I like that. It's a good reminder too. And I think even when you say that word, there's a possibility of a resonance that goes through you. Yeah. That kind of triggers that awareness.
Right.
So Feng Shui is a really old school. It's an old system, thousands of years old. I think here in the West, it's, I think, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, it kind of was a buzz thing and it was kind of like, oh, Feng Shui. But I think there's an appreciation for it now, not so much an awareness. The awareness came about 10, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, but there seems to be a growing appreciation for it. Why do you think that Feng Shui is where it's at now, and where do you think it might go because of this?
I think it's the chaos in the world. I mean, we've been building up to this, 2020 and even how 2021 has started off. We've been building up to that chaos, and people are looking for a place to seek solace and to find peace. And, you can find it in Feng Shui. So I think it's pushed people, especially in this last year. It's been interesting to see, I haven't been doing this for a real long time, but it's been interesting to see people who reach out to me in different times are all the same animals, all born in the same year. The people who are reaching out because they're having, so I did so many readings for horses last year.
Oh, wow.
It was the year of the rat, right? Mm-hmm. And horses and rats. It was almost comical when I would see what year they were born, like, oh, here's another horse having a hard time. So anyway, I think that's it. People just want to feel like, to me, it's a roadmap. Like I said, when I held up my chart, that's my roadmap. Mm-hmm. We get off path, we need to know how to get back on. And if you can refer to that and you have something that you feel like you can refer to, and you're not just wandering around in the world aimlessly, there's plenty of roadmaps, but this is specific to you. This is specific to you. This is the road that's going to take you through. You need that windy road of trees today. Well, somebody else might need the hustle and bustle of being around people. And so, it's telling us each which path to take and how we're going to find the most peace and the most harmony in our lives. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why. And I think it obviously has longevity. Look how long it's been around. The more people who discover it, the more it will, spread, mm-hmm. Thankfully. Imagine if everybody tried to live their highest purpose.
Yes.
The world.
Mm-hmm. And I think people, we tend to seek outside of ourselves, for comfort, or, pull up our phone or turn on, something to binge watch, or, carry out food or something. And to me, Feng Shui brings us back here. It brings us back to this and our space and our family and what's right in front of us, because this is the stuff that's important.
Right.
And it kind of gives you, as the receiver of the knowledge of Feng Shui, your clients, my students, my clients, of an empowerment, right? It's putting the power back to them and teaching them to create it and not wait for it or expect it or hope that somebody else is going to create it for them, that flow or that peace that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
It's such a valuable, incredible tool, and I'm so grateful that I have this VIA ProTeam that's just growing and growing every year to get out there and be a part of the conversation and be touching the world the way you do.
Yeah.
So as we head out here, do you have any last thoughts? Anything that I'm not asking you or that you feel is important to speak to, or a message for people?
I wanted to add one thing about a tip for people, other than declutter. Some people are minimalistic anyways. So I would just recommend that they just look around their space and see if there's a balance of all the elements. So do you have earth? Do you have fire? Is there metal? Is there a little bit of water and a little bit of wood in each room? I think if you can, even if you don't know exactly what's specific to you, if you can look around and make sure you have a balance in every space that you spend time in, and invite different colors and different, things that you might not be naturally drawn to into your life, and just see how you feel. See how you feel in your life. If you've never had a houseplant, buy a houseplant. Try it. See how you do with it. Mm-hmm. See how it makes you feel when you water it, when you trim the dead leaves and things like that. So that would be my other tip that I forgot to mention that I think can make a huge difference in people's lives.
I think I agree with you. I think I kind of forget that myself, and I'm, kind of reminded, when I'm teaching in that, it's like, no, our space should be balanced. And it doesn't mean that, it's balanced in the furniture and that kind of stuff, but it's the yin and yang of it. Make sure that each element is represented, because I kind of, and I know you've got some experience with the chakra system, but from my lessons, I learned that there's 144,000 chakras, and in the seven major chakra, those seven chakras exist within each one of those chakras.
Right.
So even within each sector of our home or direction of the home, all of those elements exist.
Yeah.
In the animals in your chart, those elements exist. And like you said, I think it's an opportunity for people to really become sensitive to their environment and see. It's like, oh my gosh, I really love having this plant.
Yeah.
Or I always go to this corner of the sofa because this is where the blue blanket is. I love
Yeah.
this blue blanket. I don't know why, but now it's my favorite.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Just
great tip.
becoming more aware of it too. And,
Mhm.
it's funny. I've had a lot of people say, I hate houseplants. And I'm like, you know what? I used to too. But you know what houseplants did for me? They cured my seasonal depression. Literally. I
Mm.
never had a houseplant until you told me I needed houseplants because my wood is so low. Changed my life. I mean, I know it's traumatic, but it's true. When I feel
Awesome.
bummed out in the winter, I go water my plants and I feel better. Like I'm in control. This is okay. Life goes on. This
Mhm.
winter will end.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I don't keep them alive very well, but I sure try.
Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun. I
It
just
has been
love
fun.
you and your energy, and it's, we got good things ahead of us.
Yes,
And,
we
we're available, you're available. I'm going to make sure down below here that I put your contact information. Looking forward to finding you on social media because you always have, as we can hear, have great things to share with people.
yeah,
So
definitely.
keep it up, and
Thank you, Tina.
I get to see
Thank
you
you.
soon. So
Yep.
all my love to your family, and
Mwah. Thank
happy
you.
happy Chinese New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year.